it was sick.
Yeah, the acting world as a whole, it's really untalked about. It's like, because like like we just know, like you see like the main actors and you don't even know, like, because on social media right now you're seeing everybody, like you know who everyone is. They get to come on like smaller podcasts, they get to come and like do all this stuff. But like with acting, you're just like, you're an actor, and I feel like it's so just like selective and cutthroat, and like everybody's it's kind of secretive almost.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think with what was crazy is my time of when I was joining Disney, it was really the first time that Musical.ly was popping off at that point. And it was really...
What year is that, 2016?
It was like 2016-ish, yeah. And that was like the first time that we started seeing a big number of social media kids step into this world of acting. Yeah. And in that setting, actors hated social media.
That's the point where all the managers like, you got to take acting classes. You have 10 million followers. You can flex at an audition, right? So break that down. Like, what was that transition where Hollywood became pro-influencer?
I believe that, the idea of putting someone big in a movie has always existed. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's why we put a Leonardo DiCaprio. Besides the talent, also the name that he brings. Are you more likely if, let's say there's some kid named Ethan Wilcox and then Leonardo DiCaprio, which one are you going to most likely go see? You're probably going to see the one with the actor that you're familiar with. Well, in the same sense, at that time, they stopped caring too much about talent, especially on the kids shows where talent's a very pick and choose type of thing. You don't need to be that talented of an actor to make a Disney Channel. All respect,
it's true. Like, we look back on the shows we loved back in the day. Sweet Life of Zack and Cody was awesome, but it's not it's not prime television.
But does that mean that they won't? I mean, look at Zac Efron. Right. Zac Efron has grown up to have an amazing career and proven himself to be an incredible actor, as is the Mileys and Selenas, and people will continue. And then you also have the kids that go on and they didn't really amount to much. But then it was, are we going to amount more out of bringing in Jacob Sartorius, who's bringing in 1 million likes per picture?
Whose audience is the exact same audience.
And they're a cult fan base, so they're going to watch whatever he's in, whether it's shit or whether it's amazing, and it'll do great. Yeah. And that was the idea. And us as actors fucking hated these kids because we work our whole lives. We face this rejection. We walk into rooms. We get told that we're too short, too tall, too this, too that, too funny, not funny enough. We get told all these things. And these kids step in never having to go through any of this and are getting roles and taking them from us. And, in social media, roles aren't taken. There's not a set number of how many big influencers there can be. There can be 5 giant influencers. There can be 20 giant influencers. And no one's really fighting for the top spot. Yeah. Whereas in acting, there's only one role. And there's a lot of people going for that one role. And at the end of the day, only one person is going to get that.
How many people in context go for like a Disney leading role?
Oh, dude.
Because I see the kids who post them on YouTube and stuff, but how many do you think? Like
unamounable. You can't count. Yeah, possibly. Jeez, yeah.
Jeez. Everyone wants to do it, though.
And internationally too. Yeah. I mean, you have to think. I mean, we think just LA. Yeah, there's a lot of actors in LA. There's a lot of actors in New York City. But how about these kids in Texas, fucking Mississippi, all over,
fucking Canada, South Africa, Europe,
everywhere. I mean, you're dealing in it. The bigger the role gets, the wider the search will be. Yeah. And I mean, don't get me wrong. You do have the roles where they're being more selective. They want a name actor. They want someone with more talent. And then at that point, that's when you start getting the more exclusive roles. And that's what you work for. Yeah. You work to create these connections. You work to create a reputation. So then you start getting in those calls. I auditioned for West Side Story, and that was a very tight casting. That wasn't very big. Yeah. That's what you ultimately try to achieve as an actor, is that exclusivity of being a big actor.
Damn. My dream was to become a producer, like, of films, right? So do the business side of films, help organize the money and set it up for people to be creative. My dream every day of my life was to have a purpose to walk onto a film studio like Warner Brothers, Universal, have a reason to be there. Like, I don't know. Have you had a moment in your life where you realize how fucking envious so many millions of children, including ourselves growing up, have been of what you've done?
Dude, I think because growing up is also never settling. It also created this thing where I'd never kind of step back and be like, look where I am. And I think those times that would hit me the most is when I was on Disney. we would do promos and get sent to Disney World to go promote, like, if there was a new ride or a new theme park being made there or whatever.
It's like the 30-second clips they show on Disney.
Yeah. So those ones that you'd see, my castmate Jenna Ortega and I, we'd always get selected to go, and amongst other Disney casts. But for our show, it was always her and I.
Yeah.
And we would get sent out there, and I feel like that was like crazy, because like one thing is to step out onto the street and see a few kids come up to you and recognize you. Another thing is being in a place where it's only all kids, and they're all fans of Disney. And I mean, I'm not talking 100 kids. I'm talking thousands of kids would surround us.
You get mobbed,
and it would be, dude. I've seen aspects of Disney World. And I think that to me is crazy, that probably 90% of the population will never see. Like, I've been through the underground tunnels.
Explain that, because that used to fascinate me.
Yeah, they're built so there's railroads that used to run under where the park is.
Yeah.
And then there's tunnels, because the idea behind it is a Cinderella. Imagine if she's got to go take her lunch break, and her lunch break is in Star Wars land.
Ooh. You can't walk by there.
You can't have Cinderella in Star Wars land.
Yeah, fucked.
That'd be awful. It'd be you'd have a mutiny on your hands.
Yeah.
So
refunds.
She has to go down to the tunnels, and then take a cart
all the way
to
across
the backstage, and then she can go take her lunch break.
Yeah.
And it's all over, dude. I mean, I got to see the basketball court.
Oh, up at the top of
on the Matterhorn.
Oh yeah, there's a basketball court built in the Matterhorn for construction workers.
The construction workers that were building it built themselves a basketball court, so on their lunch breaks they could 1v1, 3v3s.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's sick. So that was like learning all like the little insider. I've seen at Disneyland. I got to go into Walt Disney's. You can actually pay to stay there, but it's in the castle, there's a little hotel room that you can actually book. And I mean, it's very difficult to book. It's not like you can go on the Disney website and reserve it. You have to have a contact. But I actually got to go in there and see it. Damn. Things like that, like just crazy shit, There's a
club in Disney called like Club 5
for like Club 13 for like Studio 73 or something.
Yeah, they like invite like Ariana Grande there. Yeah. Have you ever seen that?
I didn't get to go into Studio 73 like and stay, but we actually cut through Studio 73 just to go see it.
Yeah.
But there was no events or anything there happening. But yeah, I mean that is one thing I'll say. Disney, while you're in their payroll, and as long as you're one of their big stars at that time, you get treated like gold. You get to get all the secrets, you get all the love.
That's crazy.
And then your time runs out,
and then you're done.
And then you're done.
What percent of actors do you think that grew up in those shows that we watched? Like, how hard is it to transition from Disney to then I'm gonna go act in other places? What's the success rate? It's gotta be hard, right?
I think it's a low success rate. I mean, we can count how many people can we count in our hands compared to how many actors there's been on Disney. Right.
Can you think of a single one that's Selena? Obviously.
I mean, there's some pretty big actors.
There's big
I mean,
ones.
there's big stars.
JT was Mickey Mouse Club.
Also, like Zendaya, she's pretty big too.
Oh, right, Zendaya. Okay.
Bella Thorne.
They create the biggest ones, but also there's not that many of them.
I mean, that's the whole idea of Disney stars going crazy. Is it really Disney stars going crazy, or is it the desperate attempt to be taken seriously as an adult that they do an over amount of things? I mean, I'm guilty of it too. You are so tired. My first tattoo I got was on my thigh. It was Steamboat Willie. OG Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
And that was because I grew up my whole life. Like, my nickname in my hometown was Mickey, and Disney kid, Disney boy. You're just kind of clowned for that, and you don't really have a control. And it's not that people don't think it's cool, but it's easily clownable,
Yeah. Do you think that it stems from that you're given like everything at such a young age? Like when you're like on a Disney show, like you said, like you're just treated like this fucking,
the Justin Bieber effect.
Yeah, just like this some person, and then you come off, say like your role's up, you can't play a 13-year-old kid when you're 18 years old.
Right.
Yeah. So then your role's done, and then like maybe you don't have anything else lined up, or maybe you just aren't that good or anything. Do you think that that's exactly where that come from? Is like you are so poppin', you have all this stuff going for you, you're great, and then you're just like, fuck.
You got to figure it out for yourself.
I was telling you guys, I mean, Hollywood is a toxic world. It's a very toxic world. You guys have been here. You guys see the world of LA. I mean, you're at an age where you're around partying. I mean, my first party I ever went to was as a freshman in high school, 14 years old. I was at a UCLA frat party. That was the first party I ever went to.